Hi, Mr. David.
Hi, Nana.
It's great and a pleasure to have you and to catch up with you today. I know you are always a busy man, but today let's talk about food, diet, and the culture behind it. In preparation towards the upcoming event, Dietary Diversity Culture event to be held in Lipoliva Library Expo on 14th of September. And since you are the master brain behind it, I'm so glad to have a talk with you today.
Oh, yes, Nana. That is very pleasant. I would love to hear that. Many times we are hooked on very big things. We think about work, we think about meeting those people we think are important. We have things to do with the families, and we forget about the very basic thing and something that is very common to all of us, like food,
Exactly.
diet, and culture.
Exactly.
So I'm privileged to be here with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
You are welcome. Okay, so since you are Kenyan and I'm Ghanaian, I would love you to talk about your Kenya dietary diversity culture food. I know a little bit because I've been around the Kenya for some time, so I'll try my best. But it all depends on you today.
Wow, that's lovely, Nana. Food is a very sensitive topic. Usually we just eat and we go places and we take for
Exactly.
granted. But some people say that you are what you eat.
Exactly.
And I personally also believe that food is very cultural. If you look at Kenya, for example, I know you're from Ghana,
Yeah.
and probably we've got some commonalities, but you also have very huge differences in the way we eat, in the way we prepare meals, and in the way we look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But well, I'll talk about Kenya because that's my home country and that's where I'm born.
Thank you.
There are two things. There is the cultural food and then they have the traditional food.
Mm-hmm.
And in Kenya, since we are about 42, 44 tribes, that means these people have this what we call subcultures which are different from the other, even though the one umbrella is that we're all Kenyans.
Yeah.
So I'll choose to talk about probably a meal or food that is common almost to every other Kenyan despite your tribe. Okay. And for that reason, I'm going to straight away pick on Ugali.
Wow, interesting.
I don't know whether you've heard about. Have you ever heard about Ugali?
I think I've heard about the chapati.
Chapati is quite a cool one.
Okay.
But that we don't eat. We don't eat that every day.
All right.
Yeah. So Ugali is what I call the common dish, the common meal that every Kenyan has almost on a daily basis. Okay. And if not on a daily basis, probably at least 3-4 times in a week.
Wow.
Yeah. Amazing. So it is that famous. Okay. It is that present in our lives. Wow. It is that conspicuous, and you can't miss it. Despite how big or important the event is, Ugali's presence must always be there.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm proud to be associated with it because it's my greatest meal of all the times. Okay. Be that it may, Ugali is a great meal because every time it is put on the table, it fits so many other dishes. Okay. You could eat it with the meat, stewed, roasted, or fried. Whichever form it comes, that will still fit with Ugali. The same with fish. You bring fried fish, you bring boiled fish, you bring stewed fish, you bring dried fish. Ugali will still go with it.
Wow. And the sauce.
Yes. When we talk with when we Kenyans when we talk about boiled food, we mean food with the sauce, with the soup. Yes. You see now these cultural differences are coming in.
Exactly.
The way you guys talk in West Africa, a little bit the way we do it. No. Yeah. So again, if you think about for example, people are eating, if you want to eat chicken, which we dearly eat when we have very important occasions, Ugali still, backs it up very well. Yeah. Or if you are going to eat some vegetable, for example, it could be a cabbage that has been fried or steamed. The green kale, which we call sukuma wiki in Kenya, is a great meal with Ugali.
Sukuma wiki.
Sukuma wiki.
Sukuma wiki.
Yes.
Wow.
That is a Swahili.
Sound interesting.
Exactly. It's a Swahili name. I'm going to detour a little bit just to tell you a little bit about sukuma wiki.
Okay.
Sukuma wiki is the green kale in English.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks like spinach, but it's not spinach. They're different species.
All right.
Yeah, we call it sukuma wiki, which is Swahili, which means sukuma means push, to push something. And wiki simply refers to a week, Monday to Sunday. That's a week.
This is interesting.
Yes. Why? That name came in when, people who lived in the urban settlement, especially in Nairobi City, they needed a meal that could always push them throughout the week.
Wow.
Which
it has a history behind it.
Exactly.
Wow, this is amazing.
Exactly. That's why I say that food is cultural. And it has a lot of, in food you find a lot of impetus and you find a lot of pride and something to really associate with. So this sukuma wiki simply means push the week. Why? Because many struggling families found it to be a meal that is less costly, is readily available, and is easy to prepare.
Wow.
That means you just walk into the next food store or food kiosk and sukuma wiki is there, the vegetable. You buy it, you wash it, you cut it into pieces. You can either boil it or fry it right there. In 15 minutes, it's ready for a very green, nice, nutritious, good meal.
My goodness.
You prepare ugali on the other side, and there you go. So with kids and with the family, it's always the easiest meal to prepare with ugali. Of course, with ugali. Ugali is the main thing here. Sukuma wiki is just like any other dish that will accompany it.
I can't wait to have a taste of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can.
I'll proudly welcome you one of these fine days to have sukuma wiki bite with ugali, and I guess you'll love it.
When it comes to food.
Yes, exactly.
I'll be available.
Wow, that's nice to hear. Yeah. So now that you have invited me to this topic, I think we have to exhaust it. Now, ugali on the other hand, can be made from different flours and from different cereals. The number one cereal that we use a lot is the maize or the corn. So, the maize flour or the corn flour, that is used for making ugali. Some people also use millet, the millet flour for ugali. You can also use the cassava, the dried cassava, and then it is taken to the posho mill, it's done, and then that flour is used for making ugali. And you can also use sorghum.
Wow, sorghum.
Yes.
It's amazing. We also have that in Ghana.
Wow.
The cassava, the millet. We also have it.
Right.
But the preparation and the culture behind this is different.
Could be different.
Yeah.
And that's why we are here now to probably share this.
Wait.
It's amazing. It's hilarious.
Wow.
And in other instances, you can also choose actually to have a combination of all these flours together so that you have a very nutritious ugali on the table. That means, you got millet in here, you got cassava, you got corn, you got sorghum.
Yeah.
And, nutritionists are telling us that millet and sorghum are very nutritious.
Exactly.
And if you think about people who probably are struggling with diabetes, or if you're sensitive about what you eat, then nowadays people prefer more of the millet and sorghum ugali than the white meal, which is from the corn. So people tend to blend it so that it's nutritious and it is preventive of those health problems. But then look, this ugali, it will take you about 15 minutes to make ugali.
15 minutes.
Yes. I must also confess that I know how to make ugali because it's my great meal. I grew up in Ugali. I was born, I found it there. I cherish it. I'm one of those people who cannot actually take out of the week. I must have Ugali on the table 5 days.
Oh, then you are really, really into it.
Exactly. Without which, something's terribly wrong. And so get a pot of water, boil it, get the flour ready nearby.
Okay.
You have to have this cooking stick. We don't cook it with spoons. We cook it with a cooking stick.
Yeah.
So once the water has boiled 100 degrees, then take the flour, pour it in the water, as if you're doing the porridge.
Yeah.
So you will stir it like that gently until it gets a little bit compact.
Wow.
So then you will serve it on the plate as a compact thing, you may think it's a cake.
Wow. This is
You know,
intriguing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And usually we cook ugali according to the family size or according to the people who are there to eat this meal. So those are some of the cultural issues behind ugali. And ugali is made that way because when you're looking at the traditional African family, children range from minimum of 3 probably to even 10.
Yeah.
And ugali was cooked according to the size of the family.
Okay.
It is served and it is put on the table, and then you sit around it. And by the way, because of the civilization that's coming in nowadays, many people eat ugali with spoons and forks and knives, but the traditional way is not that way. Ugali is meant to be eaten with the bare fingers.
The finger licking.
Exactly.
The taste of the finger.
Sure. Yeah. That's when you feel it.
Exactly.
Yeah. We pinch it and then you do it this way so that you make that ugali, the way you want it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have also other cultural food we also eat with our hands, like the fufu, the banku.
Okay.
And I think the Nigerians also have the eba. They also eat with their hands.
Right.
It tastes differently when it's being eaten with the hands. So I know how it feels as a Ghanaian and an African lady,
right,
coming from Kumasi.
Right.
I know how it feels.
Wow. This is amazing, because you see now those are some of the areas where we have common things, common cultural practices.
Exactly.
So when we have this ugali on the table, you simply wash your hands and come and take your position. Sit from whichever angle you sit. So you have to just be in a comfortable position that you're going to reach it. And then you are given what we are given, which is different. So in the olden days, you could also be given ugali for everyone, just ugali that is for all of you. And then also a one pot for the dish, either it's fish or it's meat or it's vegetable, so that all of you guys are getting this ugali from here and getting the other meal from here. But probably nowadays, because of the way the availability of utensils and all this is readily available, so nowadays you could serve your own dish, but ugali is still common to everybody.
Wow.
Yeah. So the real Kenyan man, like myself, I still don't eat ugali with either spoon or a knife or a fork. I use my hands.
It's still the hands.
Yeah.
The finger licking taste.
Exactly. Because the pride is in eating it that way. After that, then I will again go and wash my hands, because I will have to wash that ugali away. Exactly. I feel that. Yeah. I feel very much at home. Okay. Yeah.
Let's talk about the vibe when we were growing up as Africans, also at home.
Right.
As you just described how the food is being served.
Sure.
And then group of kids and family, we go around it. That kind of vibe and happiness. And if you are a slow eater, you see you have that kind of brother or sister that will be passing on to you. And you have that kind of bold, strong brother or sister who will say, let's leave the rest for this person,
right,
because he or she is a slow eater.
Sure.
I think we are missing a lot nowadays.
And indeed, that's where that's actually what it was meant to be. It was meant to pull up the slow eaters.
Okay.
To go at the same pace with the rest of the guys. It was also meant for the parents to monitor the attitude of kids when they're eating together.
Okay.
Who is a glutton here?
Ooh.
Who is greedy? Who wants everything for himself?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so that they're able to understand you people when it comes to this diet and culture. And at the same time, they would be able to know that, okay, this one doesn't like ugali or doesn't like this kind of meal,
Yeah.
Then they would be able to know, okay, what do we prepare for you? Yeah. But people get disengaged from the meals that they eat if there's no motivation. So in other words, when you are eating as a group, when you are, kids always copy their bigger siblings. When you see your bigger brother eating something and your bigger sister, you'll actually have a positive perception and motivation for that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was also one thing which this group eating together of ugali meant. It was meant to persuade you to know that, okay, this is the meal of the day and everybody's eating this. So see.
Exactly.
But so I see that that similarity that we have in eating these things with our hand and being around these foods together as a family or as a,
Exactly. And those days, it had this kind of uniqueness among us of we being sharing love among us and being so caring to each other. That kind of experience. Because we sit in group, we eat together in one, in two, in three, some intense as the description of the food for the family. And there was this kind of bond. Can you please explain, since you are of age more, the kind of bond we are missing today?
Indeed, we are missing it because nowadays, I mean, you got 3 kids in the house as family, you and your wife, you've got food at the table, everyone has served it and has gone to his own room, for example.
Okay.
Or his own corner. It's like you guys are not having a meal. It's like it's as good as going to McDonald's and having some quick food because nobody cares about the other one. See?
Yes, it's true. You are all on your own.
Yeah, so the modern eating culture that we are adopting, which is very Western, is actually doing a lot of damage to our food culture and dietary culture because then that's not how we live. Remember that great stories, great observations, great monitorings in the African culture has been done during the meals.
Exactly.
I don't know whether you get.
I get it.
Yeah, because it's during the meals that your dad or your mother or your bigger brother or sister or a relative would actually be telling a story when people are eating.
Oh my God, that's interesting part.
See,
it's true.
Yeah, because this
it was fun.
Yeah, because this is also, food brings people together.
Exactly.
Culturally. So when you're together, then you also have the quorum that you need probably to take us to give a story and to crack jokes.
Exactly.
And those things stick.
Yes.
So it is also a very educative moment for the family because then you are told that, hey, when you're eating, please, for example, don't lean with your one hand on the floor.
Yeah.
Or you need to sit straight because the food needs to get straight. So during that time, you are assisted to behave well practically when you're eating.
Exactly, I remember.
Yeah, and you are told things that really matter about food, habit, hygiene, and all this at that particular moment. You see, our African way of doing it.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, so you see, the issue of that food and the culture behind it is such a strong thing that no one dares ignore. You ignore it, then you have lost your culture.
Food is culture.
Exactly. It's cultural and we are what we eat. Exactly. Some people crack jokes in Kenya because I come from the lakeside that we speak so much English and that we are so clever because we eat a lot of fish. I don't know.
I'm a fish eater too. I love fish.
I've been trying to find the science or the approved research behind that. It's still an ongoing thing for me. I'm still trying to find out, but it's always also a big joke in Kenya. We joke among ourselves. But anyway, so the food culture in Kenya is still so centered around ugali because that is the main thing that the other dishes rotate around. Okay. So regardless of what you have, ugali would still fit in there.
Yeah.
Yes. Tell me about your banku or your fufu or about whatever.
Our banku in Ghana, it's a fermented kondo.
Right.
Yeah. Often served with soup or stew or grounded pepper with fish. And then sometimes when you really want to make it so saucy and spicy, you can fry your sausage, your pork.
Okay.
And slice your onions and tomatoes. And
right.
I'm a banku eater.
Okay.
I love banku and pepper. And the thing is that the secret behind this is when you eat it, you drink water the whole day and you are so full, you are so energetic.
So you mean you also get thirsty after eating it? It brings that thirst.
So I love it, and the fufu is made from boiled pounded cassava,
Okay.
and then the yams or plantain often served with soup like the groundnut soup, the palm nut soup, the light soup. So we have a lot of culture food
Right.
and traditional food in Ghana, and they are all taste. The taste is above its limits, and I can't wait to take you to Ghana. You have a lot of yummy traditional food. So I go to Kenya to enjoy, and then I bring you to Ghana for you to have a taste of it.
And for sure, that is the only way we are going to approve of these cultural differences and the tastes. Yeah. I know that African meals are of great taste.
Yeah.
I've been to Ghana, but I didn't have a chance to eat the banku or the fufu because probably I chose to live in the hotel, which was a big mistake I did because I should have gone for this.
You should have gone to the streets.
Yeah.
Everything is on the streets.
Actually, the greatest meals are always in the streets. Forget about the big hotels.
Exactly. I love the streets.
Yeah. You know, it is cooked right there, it is served right there, and you got a hot meal, and yeah. It's done. You know, they don't let me say it's not cosmetized. It is natural the way they do it there. You know, yeah.
If Mr. David, if you should have gone to the street, that is where you see the palaba sauce. We have the palaba sauce.
Yeah.
It's a spicy sauce made with peppers,
right,
onions, and tomatoes, and often served with banku or kenke.
Okay.
And we have our street food also with the kenke.
Yeah.
It's traditional food also for the culture people of the Gans.
Okay.
And it tastes so good and so yummy.
Wow,
and
that's
when
nice.
You eat it, you take a lot of water, and you feel energetic on the streets to work for the day.
So you can take labor from morning to evening without minding about lunch in between.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly, Mr.
Good.
David. I can't wait to go to Ghana and take you to take you with me to Ghana and go with you to Kenya to have a taste of every culture food and traditional food. That will be my happiest day.
Actually, I believe with the beginning of this Dietary Diversity Cultural event that we are positioning here in Expo City at Lipo Level Library on the 14th of September, this is just the beginning of this food and cultural event journey, so that it's going to take us around so many countries within which ANDSEA works. Because remember, our slogan as Africa Network Development on Sustainable Economic Activities is that sharing is caring.
Exactly.
And so it has to start with us. We have to share the diets and the food and the culture that we have. Then we spread it out there to the world. No.
Thank you, Mr. David. Can we move on to Africa Diaspora Media Network? ADMI, please, can you talk a little more about Africa Diaspora Media Network, ADMI?
Oh, yes. I'll be more than glad to shed some light about it or to highlight something about it. Yeah, African Diaspora Media Network is a channel that we are establishing. We will be launching it on the same day, the 14th of September 2024 at Lipo Level Library in the conference hall called Salonki.
Okay.
And the African Diaspora Media Network will be operating from Helsinki, Finland, mainly covering the news and the success stories about African diaspora here in Finland. But it will go beyond that, because you see, the world is about, the things we do are about, not only about us, it's about the next person and the next person and the next person. So that networking will be covered. By that I mean, when we invite somebody for a talk, this person would obviously mention that I have done this with so and so.
Exactly.
And so that is how it will be disseminating. That's how it will be flowing out. And of course, we've got our high profile dignitaries from our countries visiting here, either for benchmarking or for some kind of resource mobilization, coming for meetings. They'll be more than welcome to attend some of these talk shows to tell us about, their trips, if they're not very confidential, because Africans are more than glad to see their leaders visiting here. Exactly. And to listen to actually what they come around to do, and also the experience that they get when they visit here, exactly, apart from just talking about our own successful stories. So, African Diaspora Media Network is here to inspire your success, however little or big it is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Devoid of biasness on religion, biasness on tribe, on race, on culture, on sexual orientation, on whatever you call it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. David. Thank you, viewers. We've learned a lot today and heard a lot about the culture of Kenyans. And on 14th of September, we would love to see everyone at the Lipo Library Expo